Welcome to Nasdaq TradeTalks, where we meet with the top thought leaders and strategists in emerging technologies, digital assets, the regulatory landscape, and capital markets. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, and joining me on the desk at the Nasdaq market site is Juan Carlos Navarro, Minister of Environment of Panama, Bhardwaj, CEO of Onx Homes, and Don Thomson, founder and chairman of CRDC. We're here to discuss why the global push for sustainability and climate resilience has created a burgeoning market for innovative solutions. Gentlemen, it's great to have all of you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks. Welcome to Market Site. And let's go around the horn here. Juan Carlos, we'll start with you. Why treating climate and fostering those innovations is now a global priority?
Global warming is a reality. And global warming is what brought climate change. And we are still putting out tons and tons of CO2 into the air. And because of this, we have climate extremes. Every sign points out to a path towards more of the same and more climate extremes. I have been participating at the UN General Assembly this week. A lot of talk about climate. It all sounds like BS to me. I'm not watching or seeing actual true decisions and concrete actions to take us towards a cleaner, safer energy grid, towards a cleaner, safer transportation system, and towards a more sustainable economy. Therefore, this creates a tremendous opportunity for us, for private and public partnerships, that we can team up together to build a new green economy. We're going to need it. We need it now. There will be tons of opportunity with AI, with solar, with clean energy, with electric mobility, to turn our economy into a more efficient, more productive economy, cleaner, greener economy.
Yeah, and we're going to get there in just a moment. I want to go back to UN and innovative technologies that's being employed in just a moment here. But Ash, what are some of the biggest challenges in adopting climate tech in home building? How are you navigating them? Why is it so important for the next gen of home buyers?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, the panel on this table, some people come from the policy standpoint, whereas I come from, it's already happening. What can we do as far as the common masses are concerned to help them? For example, hurricane happens every year in the United States, okay? Earthquakes, okay? We have wildfire happening in California. And what happens with all of this is the biggest asset that you have, which is the home, gets destroyed, okay? And I've been looking at this industry and said something new has to happen in this industry to be able to solve for sustainability. So in Onx, what we're doing is we're building homes using a proprietary material of concrete, which we mix, and we build the homes in a factory environment, okay, where the wastage is very minimal. And these homes are built for resilience. Our homes can stand for 100+ years. It can withstand Hurricane 5 wind, okay, fire. Since it's not made with wood, so it doesn't ignite the fire even more, whereas it helps you to stop the fire in a lot of areas. And also earthquake, okay, so our technology is such that these are monolithic buildings, and they move with the earthquake in the right way, so it doesn't damage the building as much. Okay, so that's one piece of it. The second piece of it is, on a monthly basis, consumer spends a lot of money on insurance. I mean, look at all the states. I mean, insurance companies are just leaving California, leaving Florida, leaving a bunch of other states. Okay, whereas our homes, consumer can save 50% on insurance cost, can save about 40% on energy costs because we have good envelope technologies. And the third thing they can save is on maintenance. 1.5% to 2% of your home cost is yearly maintenance. And whereas in our case, it's hardly any maintenance required because these are all solid. I mean, we're bringing the commercial grade buildings into the home side of the business.
So Don, let's talk about that, because part of accelerating investment, you have to have scalable solutions at the end of the day.
Exactly. So at CRDC, we're coming out of a startup phase, and we're moving into a scale-up phase, and it's really interesting. So we as entrepreneurs entered into the marketplace with a deep concern for the environment. It's very easy to have a deep concern of the environment when you come from the part of the world that the minister and I do. It's pristine and it's beautiful, and you really want to protect that. So I also come out of the building sector. So we focus on what could we do, number one, with the plastic issue. It's directly related to carbon, right? What could we do with that dirty plastic that was, ruining our beaches? we were fortunate. We found a solution. We found a solution in our industry, the construction sector. It's interesting. We make 33 billion cubic meters, tons, I'm sorry, of cement every year, concrete every year. We make 460 million tons of plastic. It's a big number, but it's only 1.3% of the concrete market. So we found a place to put this problematic material in a beneficial way, and now we're scaling. And I was also at a UN meeting with the UN Global Compact this morning, and their theme this year is forward faster. And now we do need to scale up.
Right.
And that's really what we as entrepreneurs could figure out, okay, what's the product that we need to do? What is the demand for that product? And now to really scale, it's about the financial community.
And the public-private
The public-private financial community. So we have a full-out effort globally on trying to put those funds together to be able to scale and solve this problem.
Minister, with all due respect, this is the busiest climate week I've ever seen at the UN, right? So when you're trying to sell this to your constituents,
agree. It's incredible. It's terrible.
there's a lot of carbon emission that was required to get everyone and their security teams and their marketing teams and all their other administrative teams. How, as a consumer, and I'm seeing these headlines and we live it in Times Square, I see it on social media, how are you selling that?
It cannot be sold. That's my point. This is terrible. I hadn't been here for UNGA for quite a while for the General Assembly. It's a disaster. The lockups, the traffic, the number of people, the carbon footprints. I think there's a lot of hypocrisy in it. And I think that we all need to start telling the truth, especially about climate extremes and climate reality. And what you were referring to, more hurricanes, more drought in the dry season, fires in California or in the Amazon right now, disastrous, or in Europe last summer. This will be a part of our daily reality from now on. And the same in winter. You will have floods, you will have climate extremes. We must fight it. And so far, I see a lot of hot air, very little action. And by the way, the government of President Mulino, of which I am a part, is a national unity government. We are very clear on our conservation and climate change tactics and strategies. And it entails, and we want to, and we are, working with the private sector on solutions. A minute ago, I said that this big crisis is also a big opportunity. And I think that the way out of it, the way we work out our way from under the problem of climate change is through concerted action with the private sector. And we will come up with solutions with entrepreneurs. And I think you both are an example of this.
Right.
That we can work our way through climate change with entrepreneurship, with climate action, concerted action, and with decisive private-public partnerships.
So, Minister, one question. I mean, when you say you're disappointed, it's disappointed because the people around the table can't come to the conclusion in the UN around climate and climate changes? Or
it's worse than that. They come to conclusions, but I see no action. Okay. And by the way, we're living a tragedy, the loss of biodiversity. In a country like Costa Rica, where you live, or a country like Panama, where I live, Panama is a jewel. We're paradise. But we're facing challenges, and we have to either decide whether we will continue to be paradise or we're going to be paradise lost. And we're voting for paradise. That entails strong conservation action. This is the mandate that I was given by President Mulino. That entails clean energy and local community participation, private sector leadership. And that's what we're trying to work towards.
Got it.
Well, as the silver lining could be, this is exactly why we need to advance climate tech solutions, because it's not like the UNGA is going away.
Yes.
We're only going to have more people on the planet.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, one of the things is, we're starting with the assumption that climate change is already happening, okay, in the sense, in a big scale, okay? Now, what can we do while that is happening to protect the existing consumers, okay, at the same time to slow things down for the climate change? I mean, and construction and house building industry is one of the biggest culprits of carbon footprint in the world. Okay.
Yes. So the concrete is one of the
concrete
it's one of the biggest contributors to climate change. In reality, 7% of our carbon load is taken up by cement production. We actually found a virtual army of people to help us, a virtual army. So it's a bit of a weird story. We started our company, which is now global, as a tiny little music school on the beach in Costa Rica. And we're teaching kids. And we're teaching kids about regeneration. And today we run a program, a circular model, that we call REAP, Recover, Enrich, Appreciate, Prosper, looking for the benefit of the things you do. The outcome is greater than the sum of the outcome is greater than the sum of all the inputs. Who we found a huge army of help is children. So we created, with the United Nations, we created a curriculum around REAP. So now we teach the children to go home, bring us back the plastic. They're eager. They're the next generation. If we can teach them about regeneration, we actually have hope for the future. Because you're right, I go to a lot of conferences as well, and sometimes policy making gets a little bit, you wonder where we're actually going. Lots of talk, no action. But those little children around the world, we have now tens of thousands of kids that go home every month, bring home 2 bags of plastic, bring it back to us, and can never escape into the environment. A super simple solution.
I want to learn about this to do it in Panama. And by the way, putting the plastic into the cement to build roads or into the, that's brilliant. We have so much plastic waste in the world, and we also have it in Panama. We need to totally revamp our waste management system to build a circular economy, to recycle. So this method that you talk about sounds like music to my ears. I want to know more.
Yeah. And you know, going back to the concrete, I mean, I was in one of the conventions, technology convention in San Francisco. There were at least 300 companies which are working on the new way how to take the carbon out of the concrete, okay, to make it carbon neutral concrete, okay. And I was very, very encouraged because I think there's a program by 2040 you have to get out of a bunch of these carbon footprinted stuff.
Oh, by the way,
in my opinion, it's going to happen much faster based on what I saw and that these companies are trying to accomplish.
Well, just on this topic, Panama is carbon negative, and we're also a blue leader. We're one of the few countries in the world that has protected 54% of its oceans. However, we still face the crisis of deforestation, the challenge.
Sure.
The plastics and the garbage. We need to solve this. We need to face it head on. And of course, how do we involve local communities? Right. And so we're trying to work on these things as we learn and as we go along. And
this is the way I think you get constituent buy-in and you work with your local communities. This is how you reskill the workforce. Having them, learn as kids to care about the environment. It's almost like we preach financial literacy in the curriculum. I think that's a brilliant idea. But when you want to think about these are good-paying jobs, it reskills the workforce. It goes back into the economy, right? I mean, yep. it's a circular story at the end of the day.
That's the benefit of construction. Construction right. really still manages all of our economies. We still look at housing starts. So it's a huge issue if you can get it right. When we got involved with this particular product, we're builders. We needed to make sure that it actually improved the quality. There's no point in us getting involved unless we could make something that was better. That was our challenge. How do you actually take waste and turn it into value? We put a lot of effort into that. And
that's how you talk to regulators and local governments, trying to show that value and how the money comes back into the system.
And also, do it in a transparent way. Use the market forces. There's no way that the public sector, by going to conferences or passing laws, is going to fix the problem. We need to listen to the private sector, involve the private sector, look for technological advances, use AI, use innovative technologies like both of you are doing, and use the competitive market to bring investment and solutions to bear. This is the path for us, and I think it's a path for the world.
Yeah.
I do too.
And in fact, in my opinion, the governments around the world should be looking at companies like yours and ours and saying, what can we do to provide them, some help and subsidies?
Panama's government is looking. This is the policy of Jose Raul Molino again, and I am a part of that. And by the way, I'm a big environmentalist. We're going to protect our environment, make no mistake about it. But we have to have development. We need to develop the solar industry, which is going very well in Panama. We need to build green jobs. If they can be green construction jobs, more power to you. And we have a bunch of stuff going on. We want to make sure we do it sustainably with the private sector.
So is it because you're able to develop this at more nimbly, right?
Correct.
And then you leverage the public partnership for scale.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, like, why reinvent the wheel?
Well, it's going to be reinvented.
Well, you get my point.
Every day.
Like how you could be more nimble and then leverage public partnerships to get
because
out there.
we are in the, I mean, we as entrepreneurs are in the business of making money, okay, in the right way, okay, and at the same time to be able to help our industry the best we can, okay? And any help that government provides in that area, okay, just by subsidy, we have to train new people, we have to train new jobs, we have to train for new concept of environmental protection that are coming, especially in the construction industry, okay? And by the way, in the industry, there are not enough people who are trained in the field, okay, to be able to do what we are trying to accomplish, okay? So we have to train the people to be able to accomplish what we are trying to do. So,
Exactly.
so it creates more jobs, it creates more opportunity, it creates,
That's a
and it
concept
makes
of
the world a better
regeneration,
place.
right? We need to find ways that we can create a symbiotic relationship between growth, the need for growth, we're a growing population, but also the protection of the environment. And then there's a third element, it's going to make financial sense or it'll die on the vine.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
yeah, so if it makes financial sense and you can protect the environment, but you can also sponsor growth, those are really the things that business has to look at.
What we say is that it has to be really green. Green in environmental terms, green in terms
money.
of greenbacks.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It has to be sustainable financially and
sustainable.
environmentally.
Exactly.
But I feel like we're at an inflection point, and not just because there's more people here at UNGA this year, but because there's so much demand on the consumer side as well. And even from a national security perspective, you're going to have to be able to supply this energy and leverage these technologies across the board. I feel as if it's not a nice thing to have anymore, but climate tech is going to be a reality.
I agree, and for me, you use exactly the right word. We're at an inflection point. There's no going back, and we can't go forward fast enough. We don't have time to waste, in my impression.
I totally agree.
We can't
This
BS, like you said.
issue, and I think we all agree, there is no time. And I was going to say that the changes that we are living through today, the changes in technology, AI, will require more power, more energy. So it will also create the need to have a revolution in the energy sector so that we can have a grid that is smart enough and also has the hardware to handle all of the energy that we need and the new ways of using it. With solar, for instance, rooftop solar, distributed energy. These are some of the issues we need to deal with now to lay the groundwork to build this new green economy with the resilient houses that you are building and putting the plastic into it so that we take it out of our rivers.
Right, but Ash, part of the challenge with that is, when you're, whether it's a nuclear facility, electrical facility, and so forth, these take a good 10 to 12 years to get brand new facilities. I mean, you can, revamp and refigure ones that are already existing, but the technology is evolving so fast, and it takes time, and there's permitting, dealing with regulators and physically building it. It's capital intensive as well.
Yeah, so I'll just give you one example from my industry, okay? So there's about a 1 million home need. I mean, right now there are 5 million more homes needed in the United States itself, okay? And at the rate, there are about 600,000 to about 1 million homes built every year, okay? But nothing is stopping for 5 million homes new to be built other than government regulations, permitting, and slow movement in various jurisdictions, okay? And that's where I say that if this has to do well, the government should be moving fast and doing a bunch of things, and not only at federal level, but state level and local levels as well. Consumer, if things being equal, the price, want to do the right stuff. Okay, I mean, if you have two homes, which is green and environmentally friendly, but the price is the same as the other one, consumer will buy this one.
Especially young people.
Yes. Okay.
Young people know this story. Us older folks, we are the ones who had to learn it the hard way. The young guys and gals, they come with the environment wired into their brains and their ethos.
Yeah, well, which is a great thing. However, safety and affordability has to be It has to be at the forefront as well. You don't want to run into a situation you're building too fast, especially in tropical climates.
I agree, but I want to underline something he said and you said, the bureaucracy. The bureaucracy is killing us. We found it in our government when we started 2.5 months ago. I had over 200 and something environmental impact statements that hadn't been either approved or denied, some of them dating back to 2018. We gave ourselves 90 days, so far we're complying, to tell people yes, no, or send me more information. Again, this is the outlook of our government and what we want to do in Panama.
Yeah.
We want transparency and we want quick decisions.
Yep.
Science-based, but we want to do it quickly and to get the government off the backs of people and the bureaucracy off the backs of people.
All right, Don, last word here. We got to wrap.
Focus and commitment. This is hard work. To make these transitions, to make these changes is hard. I think some people our age kind of got complacent. We cannot be complacent with this. Governments can't be complacent. The private sector can't be complacent. We need to focus. We need to continue to do the right thing. We need to make sure that our economies thrive, but we cannot be complacent with this. We need to make that change.
All right, we'll leave it on a positive note. Appreciate everyone's insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.